back to the Dr. Oz Show. Today we have our special guest, Mr. Brett Krause. I'm doing good. How are you? Good. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the respiratory system and why it is the best. So first we have the pharynx. The pharynx is an organ found in vertebrates and invertebrates. Though the structure is not universally the same across all the species, in humans, the pharynx is part of the conducting zone of the respiratory system. Its function is to filter warm and moistened air and conduct it into the lungs. Next, we have the larynx. Larynx would be this part right here. The larynx, commonly called the voice box, is an organ in the neck of amphibians, reptiles, and mammals, involved breathing, sound production, and protecting the trachea against food aspiration. It manipulates pitch and volume. The larynx houses the vocal cords, which are essential for phonation. Here we have the trachea. The trachea is more likely called the windpipe. It is a tube that connects the pharynx and larynx to the lungs, allows the passage of air, and so is present in almost all air-breathing animals with lungs. Here we have the lungs. The lungs are the primary organs of respiration. Next we have the bronchi, which is right in this area. Bronchi are the main passageway into the lungs. Next we have the bronchioles. Bronchioles are the passageways by which air passes through the nose or mouth to the alveoli of the lungs, in which branches no longer contain cartilage or glands in their submucosa. Alveoli are the tiny sacs within our lungs that allow oxygen and carbon dioxide to move between the lungs and bloodstream. Next we have the diaphragm. The diaphragm plays a major part in breathing. The diaphragm separates the thoracic cavity containing the heart and the lungs from the abdominal cavity and performs an important function in respiration. Next we have the nasal passage. The nasal passage is a channel for airflow through the nose. The walls of the nasal passages are coated with the respiratory mucous membranes, which contain innumerable tiny hair-like cells that move waves of mucus toward the throat. Now we have some minor organs. Here we have the oral cavity, which is the mouth, and here we have the nostril. The nostril is either of the two external openings of the nasal cavity in invertebrates that admit air into the lungs and smells to the olfactory nerves. Asthma is a chronic condition in which the bronchioles of the lungs become inflamed. Prescribed inhalant medicines may help the stop of asthma attacks. Smoking is one of the leading causes of lung cancer and COPD. Lung cancer is usually not curable, and about 15% of lung cancer victims die. COPD is an obstructive lung disease that makes it harder to breathe. Two diseases that need an air tank for you to breathe are asbestos and emphysema. Emphysema is a chronic pulmonary disease resulting from a chemical imbalance that destroys elastic fiber in the lungs. Asbestos is a chronic lung condition caused by prolonged exposure to asbestos fibers. Sleep apnea is a disease that obstructs the airway. Some people can be hooked up to a machine to help them breathe at night, and some others that are not hooked to a machine can experience snoring and violent actions. Tuberculosis is an infectious disease that infects the lungs. You can treat tuberculosis with medicine, but it doesn't always work.
So doctor, can you tell me why the respiratory system is important?
Well, it's important because it brings oxygen into our bodies, which we need for our cells to live and function properly, and it helps get rid of carbon dioxide, which is a waste product of cellular function.
Nah, man, I don't think that's really important. I think I could live without it.
Well, the concentration of carbon dioxide in the blood is the most critical factor affecting a person's breathing rate. Also, oxygen is transported to tissues by combining with hemoglobin molecules. So make sure you buy the respiratory system or you might get lung cancer, COPD, emphysema, asbestos, pneumonia, and many other deadly diseases.